Okay, I think we're ready. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our Live Your Purpose event. We had a wonderful event the other night with some amazing testimonies. So if you missed that, I encourage you to go back and watch that on my YouTube channel, Jen Hawkins. I am Jen Hawkins, and I am a Double Diamond Ambassador with Plexus Worldwide, and I am so glad you're here tonight. I know that there are lots of other things you could be doing tonight, and you have chosen to spend some time with us tonight. And it very well could be something that could spark a journey that can change your life forever and potentially a lot of people that you know. So we are happy you're here and gave up whatever it was that you could be doing tonight. Maybe it's a relaxing evening on the couch or TV, whatever, busy night with kids, but I appreciate you being here with us tonight. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey with Plexus with you before we jump into these amazing testimonies. A little over 6 years ago, when Plexus came across my Facebook news feed, I was not interested in the business opportunity, but I was interested in losing weight. I had some baby weight still left to lose. My daughter was 1 at the time, my first baby girl. We now have 3. But I wasn't interested in the business opportunity, but I was interested in that weight loss piece. But my husband, he is a very fiscally responsible man. And he said, "Hey, Jen, I love that you want to take these products, but hey, we're doing Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University, and I'm going to give you a line item for Plexus for 2 months. After that, you have to break even." So I was like, okay, whatever. I'll cross that bridge whenever I get there. But I fell in love with the products really quickly and knew I had to start sharing. So when I did, and that first paycheck came in the middle of July of 2012, I knew that this could be what changes everything for our family. And not really everything in the sense of what Plexus has actually done for our family, but rather just so I could be a stay-at-home mom. See, even though I wasn't looking for the business opportunity when Plexus came along, I was looking for something that I could do to supplement our family's income from home. And so when that came along, it was just the products. But when that paycheck came in, I knew that this was going to be it. Was going to allow me to be the one to be there for my daughter when she woke up in the morning, to put her down for naps, and to be the one to not miss those precious moments. So Plexus has completely changed our lives. Now my husband and I both work Plexus, and we get to focus on our 3 small children, designing our business around our kids' lives, not trading time for money. And it has been such a blessing. But that is actually not, I love the time and financial freedom has been amazing. And I'm so very, very grateful to God for that. But 2 of my absolute favorite parts of this entire journey that I completely did not expect. One is that we are able to have a tiny part, like a link to a chain, in thousands upon thousands of life-changing stories. And I'm just so thankful for that piece. That has just fulfilled me like I never even thought possible. The other piece is that when you're blessed abundantly, you can give abundantly. And it has been so fun to be able to give back in our community, to our church, and to other organizations that are near and dear to our hearts, to make an impact in this world, and an impact that can make an impact for generations. So we are so thankful for that as well. Well, my story is not who you hopped on for tonight. I want you to hear these amazing stories. And our theme of tonight is Live Your Purpose. And the reason why we have this theme is because what I have been seeing over and over in my years with Plexus is that, becoming a diamond ambassador with Plexus may not be your purpose. It happened to become mine. But what your purpose may be, maybe it's being the best mom that you can be, or maybe it's in the ministry, or maybe you're a nurse or a teacher, and that is your calling and your purpose in life. But I believe that you cannot fulfill your greatest potential. You cannot fulfill that purpose. You cannot live your purpose if you are not well, if you are sick, if you are in pain, if you are tired all the time, if you are anxious and you have stress, if you are living with more month at the end of the paycheck. You cannot fulfill your greatest potential and your purpose if you are not your best you. And Plexus has a way of making you your best you. And that is what you're going to hear from some of my friends tonight. And I'm so excited for you to hear from them. And first up, we're going to have, it's Heather is going to share with you how Plexus has helped her live her purpose out. So I'm super excited for you to hear from Heather. Heather, take it away, friend.
Thank you, Jen. I'm just excited to be on here tonight. I know this is a little different than the lives we normally do, so it's a little nerve-wracking, but thank you for inviting me. I'm going to just tell you a little bit about how I started on the products. It was back in 2013. A friend of mine from college had actually been posting about it. I saw her post. At the time, I was dealing with a lot of autoimmune issues and some thyroid issues. Those I had been dealing with for more than 20 years. I'd also been dealing with some debilitating headaches over the years with the crazy lights and all that. And then actually, when I was in the middle of my PhD program, I actually started having some seizure activity. And so that led to a couple of surgeries and trying to figure out what was going on. But the big thing it led to was more prescription medicines. And it just felt like a big snowball effect. Once one thing happened, then they just kept piling them on. And then I would have some side effects. And instead of really looking at how we could fix that, they just basically would give me more prescriptions. So it just felt like a never ending cycle for me. And so when I saw my friend's post, I decided to try it. I was at the point of just, I didn't even think a lot of those issues could be dealt with. I just was really frustrated with one of the autoimmune things that was going on. And I was like, maybe this will work. I just jumped in and tried it. But it really wasn't until about 3 or 4 months later when I really started looking into what these products were doing and how they were helping me. About 4 months into my journey, my husband actually was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Suddenly it was, he didn't have a lot of symptoms beforehand. And that was when I really dove into the research. But truthfully, I was still focused on him, and I was trying to figure out any way that I could help him. So it really wasn't even about me at the time. But during that research and during that process, I realized how many of the things I was dealing with and had been dealing with for so long all went back to the gut. And it was just this kind of aha moment. I know it's a little cliche to say, but it really was this moment of, this doesn't have to be this way. And there is a different way to handle these issues. So I pretty much, went head, her feet first, I guess, all the way in with Plexus. And I really stuck to the products. About 8 weeks into his treatment, we found out that we were expecting our son. And so that was another big surprise. But at the same time, I was so thankful that I was able to continue on the products and continue, my healing. Unfortunately, his cancer was just too advanced, and he actually passed away when I was 20 weeks along in the pregnancy. And it shook my entire world. It was just something that I had never expected, obviously. And I didn't know how I was going to continue, and I didn't know how I was going to be a single mom. And it was just a lot to take in, and it was a lot. But during the pregnancy, throughout, I was able to continue the products. I was continuing to improve my health. During the pregnancy, I was able to come off all but one of my prescription meds. And then over the next year, I was actually able to come off of that one. So I'm going on a little over 3 years now of being prescription free and symptom free. And I'm so thankful. It's just been the biggest blessing for me and my health, because I knew when my husband passed away, I knew at that moment that I wanted to be as healthy as I could be for my son, for myself. And I never wanted to have to sit on the sidelines of his life because I was not feeling well or, was dealing with those other things. And I'm just so grateful that my health has changed in that, that volume over the years. But another big thing is just that it's let me continue staying home with him. And be the mom that I had always hoped to be, but didn't know at that moment that I was going to be able to. So I've been able to stay home with him. He's my little partner in crime and all of this. And so, and he's really the reason I do so much of this. And it's just, I've always said this, but I really feel like if one little boy doesn't have to grow up without his daddy because he took a step to make some changes, then everything I'm doing is worth it. And it doesn't matter if some people like it and some people don't. That doesn't feed me. What feeds me is knowing that the people that have entrusted me have made these changes, and now they're going to be able to spend their days and their time and their freedom with their families and those who they love. And that to me means everything. So, Jen, thank you so much for letting me share. And I think Misty is going to be next.
Hey there, I'm Misty Blankenship. I'm a Gold Ambassador with Plexus, and My story starts a little bit differently than some people's. In 2014, I got a call from God. I call it that. He really put it on my heart to offer a kidney to a lady from our church. And I wasn't close to this lady initially. Like, we knew each other, we were Facebook friends, but I had not actually ever really had a conversation with her. But she was being put on the donor list, and God just put a little bug in my ear and said, you know, you can be a living kidney donor, or you can be a living donor. And so initially I kind of let that kind of go in one ear and out the other when I first heard it. And then I walked into church the next Sunday, the very next Sunday, and she was the first person I laid eyes on. And I knew then that that was really what God was calling me to do. A long story short, as far as that whole thing goes, but in the interim, in the middle of about a year-long testing process with all these questions and all this counseling and all this stuff going on, we found out that I literally was her only chance at having a kidney. Like, a deceased donor was probably not ever going to work for her. She had some weird antibodies, and anyway, my blood her blood could be manipulated to accept my kidney. And anyway, just knew that that was a whole God thing. So also in the middle of it, when they were doing all this testing on me to see if I would be a good match, they determined, they go through all of your health history and your family's health history and all this kind of stuff. And they weighed me one day. I'm a little bit sad to admit this, but I was well over a very healthy weight. So because of some glucose issues that ran in my family, complications from all kinds of health issues on my mom's side, they determined that I had to lose weight. And, that was a little devastating to me initially. I felt like God had called me to do this, and I didn't think that weight should be an issue. But it turns out that it was, and in the long run, it was a good thing. So I'll continue with that part of the story. I started dieting and exercising, doing all the things that I had done in years prior to lose weight, all the things I knew to do. And they weren't working this time. I was over 50 and had some female operations going on. And so things just weren't working the way they should. And I was talking to my regular physician about that at one point, and he suggested Plexus. And at the time, I knew nothing about Plexus. He knew about it because he had seen a couple of his patients, more than a couple, but specifically a couple of his patients have amazing lab results come back from having used the products. And so, he'd been their doctor for a long time. So he knew their before and their after story. And so he suggested it. And at the time, I thought he was suggesting a pharmaceutical. And I really wanted absolutely nothing to do with that. And so I kind of just blew him off, said, no, thank you. And was having pretty much the same conversation that I'd had with him with my sister-in-law about a week later. And she said, I wonder if Plexus could help you. And at this point, I'm like, okay, just bop me over the head again, because here it is a second time, and I still know nothing about it. And she just said, well, it's a drink that you drink, and it could help you lose weight. I don't know. And she was only a customer at the time. So I said, well, I'll try it. Send me a sample. And so she didn't just send me a sample. She sent me a 30-day supply. That was kind of her help to the mission of donating the kidney. So I started drinking it. And as soon as I got consistent, which was actually like the second week, things started happening. And I was very, very pleased at the speed in which they were happening. Obviously, it was the tool that I needed in my tool belt, in addition to the diet and exercise, that was the key for me. So I was able to lose the required amount of weight in about 6 weeks' time, went ahead with the surgery. And let me back up for just a second, because the kidney clinic was very thorough, and they had warned me that I could take anything that I wanted to prior to the surgery to help me lose the weight. But I had to be very, very careful about what I took afterwards, just because I was only going to have one kidney. And So I really wasn't concerned about the Plexus products because I knew that if my doctor had recommended it and my sister-in-law had been taking it for a while, that it was probably something fine. So I took it just on that alone. And because it worked, I was very happy with that. We had the surgery. And then I got to thinking about, okay, well, I've lost this amount of weight. I'd kind of like to lose a little bit more. And so by that time, I knew the person that I signed up under, and I had had conversations with people, and they were able to give me the ingredients and all of the products that we had at the time. So I took that list and I took it to the pharmacist at the kidney clinic because I'm not a researcher and I didn't want to do that research. But he spent about 2 weeks' time researching every ingredient in all of the products we had at the time and deemed them all safe for a person with just one kidney. So they approved for me to continue taking them, and I did, and I was able to lose even more weight after that without the diet and exercise. Even though I was on a good path, I couldn't exercise for a little while after donating the kidney. So that really continued just the weight loss for me. As soon as people started noticing, they started asking me what I was doing, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm drinking this little pink drink. I didn't really know anything about it. But then I started wanting to know more about it, and I started paying attention to the stuff that my sponsor was posting, the information that she was sending to me, the information that Plexus was, sending to me. And I went to my first Super Saturday. I could say that surgery happened in October. I started sharing in November. Super Saturday happened in January of 2015. And it was then that I absolutely fell in love with the company and with the people in our corporate staff, our leaders, Tarl and Alec. I just couldn't believe that I was with a multi-level marketing company that had no competition between their teams. I had been with only one other MLM before. It's really a direct sales hobby company. And it was it wasn't cutthroat per se, but it was more competitive than I wanted to be. And with Plexus, everyone was helping everyone else. So the corporate environment, the team environment, everything was just amazing. And I was organically growing a business that I didn't even know I wanted to have. So my husband has had some amazing health helps as well. He's no longer buying Tums by the jug full every month. And he's had some nerve issues in the foot that have been helped with our nerve product. And my son's seasonal allergies are dramatically decreased. There's just been a lot of things. Our family has just found great health. We are not going to the doctor anymore for seasonal colds or strep throat or any of the stuff that we normally would have gone to the doctor for before. So this became an organically grown business. Like I just didn't expect that to happen. We are now empty nesters, and the money that I make from Plexus goes really well on the trips that we like to take in our RV. So that is my story, and I'm going to turn it over to Tara and let her share her story.
Oh, okay. Just a little glitch there. My name is Tara Fowler. I am a Gold Ambassador with Plexus, and I'm super excited to be on tonight sharing my testimony. So thank you, Jen, for the opportunity. When Plexus introduced a product called Vital Biome last summer, I had already been taking several of the products for probably about 2 years and was feeling great. I had a ton of energy. I was seeing an improvement with my sugar cravings, which is honestly why I started the products in the first place. And I was finally able to sleep through the night, which was huge for me. However, I had previously gone through some really big changes, one of which was I had gained a new job as a principal of a junior high school. In addition to handling the challenges that come along with working with junior high kids, those of you who are in education, you know what I'm talking about. I was putting in a ton of hours. I was working late nights. I was going in on the weekends just to try to keep up with everything. I had no problem putting on a smile and really plowing through the school day. But when it came time to come home at night and on the weekends and be a mom to my 2 boys, I was honestly a complete mess. I was stressed out all the time. I was anxious. I cried constantly, and just the littlest things would completely put me over the edge. It wasn't out of the ordinary for me to lock myself in my room and start crying and calling my mom, who lived in another state, just because I couldn't cope and just insisting that something wasn't right. Now, I'm not against medication, but I've always preferred a more holistic approach to health and wellness. So it took a lot of convincing for my mom for me to even consider making an appointment with my doctor to listen to the options that she had to offer. I reluctantly agreed to go on medication, and I have to admit that it definitely did help a lot, and I was feeling a lot more like myself. But for me, I knew that medication was not going to be a long-term solution. Over the course of the year prior to over the course of the year that I went on medication, I tried to come off the medication a couple times, but I was unsuccessful. To be honest with you, my husband could not get me to the pharmacy quick enough. So last summer, when I heard that Plexus had launched a new probiotic that had clinical studies showing that it helped with feelings of stress and anxiety, I knew that was something that I needed to add into my regimen. I was already on the road to improving my health, my gut health, and Vital Biome, I felt like it was just what I needed to take that to the next level. So I started taking that product. I added it into the other products I was already taking. And after about a month into my new regimen, I felt confident that my gut was in check. And so I made that follow-up appointment with my doctor, and we worked together to develop a plan for me to wean off my medication. So now I sit here over a year later and I'm feeling fantastic. I thought I couldn't have felt any better a year ago, but I'm feeling so much better. I have to say that being a busy working mom is always going to involve a little and sometimes even a lot of stress and chaos. But now I feel like I have the tools to help me better cope with whatever life throws my way. These products and this opportunity have been such a blessing to me, which is why I'm on here right now sharing and why I continue to share almost 3 years later. This has been a fantastic journey, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Thanks for hearing my story. Up next is my really good friend, Nicole.
Thanks, Tara. Hello, everybody. My name is Nicole Gorgon. I am a Senior Ruby Ambassador with Plexus, and really excited to be here. Just a little quick snippet of my story. Jen, who you heard from the beginning, Jen and I used to work together years and years ago. It feels like yesterday. But just to kind of rewind a little bit, I wanted to talk to you about how I stepped out of my terrible genes, not the genes you think of, but the GENES. So as long as I can remember, I have had terrible genetics. My brother, my mom, my dad's coming at us from all angles, right? So when you're little and you think that you have bad genes, it's just kind of a, well, darn it, just, not my luck. But as you grow older, you start to realize exactly what that means. And it feels like a gigantic weight is sitting on your shoulders. It feels like you can do anything and everything to try to improve your health or to write your own story, and nothing's going to matter because you know eventually what road you're going to be on. You know what medicine you're going to go on. You know possibly what things that you're going to suffer from. I was that girl that walked into the doctor's office for that new checkup appointment, and they give you that sheet, and I was checkmarking everything that ran into my family. One of the major things that ran in my family was cholesterol. So back in 2014, my work did a biometric screening for insurance purposes. And I remember, I dreaded that day a lot. It gave me anxiety actually to look at my numbers back on a screen, knowing that they weren't good. But when this day came, this was the day my life was going to change, and I didn't even know it. My lab results came back completely off the chart. And when I say off the chart, I mean, when those lab results come in, they get distributed to your doctor. And I was assigned immediately a mandatory health coach, a cardiac specialist. When you had numbers like me, they called you a ticking time bomb and a walking heart attack. And those things are scary because for high lipid levels in your blood, the fat in your blood that you don't want, that causes heart disease and different things of that sort, you don't feel bad from the outside, but you're terribly sick on the inside. In addition to my horrible lab results, I was the girl that was getting 2-for-1 specials, colonoscopy, endoscopies, because I was always in pain when I ate. I was exhausted all the time. For any of you guys that are listening, if you wake up exhausted, That was where I was as well. I would have a full night's sleep, or so I thought, and I would wake up exhausted. I was drinking 4 to 5 sodas a day, full throttle energy drinks, terrible chemicals in a can that I thought that I needed to get through the day, but I was only trying to survive the day and not thrive on the day. I had watched Jen for a little over a year, and there was this one day close to that day where my lab results came back that I felt a testimonial that she posted was written about me. I felt it was written about me, and I kept thinking, okay, I'm super skeptical. There's so much out there. How in the world is this going to help me? And, you know, how is this going to happen? I knew there was a 60-day money back guarantee. I knew that it worked for Jen, and I really wanted it to work for me, but I was kind of set out, to be completely honest, to prove her wrong, you know, to say like, this is not going to work for me. So I reached out, I decided to make the leap, to go for it. And in addition to where I was, I'm a full-time working mom who was sick all the time. Strep throat 6 times a year. I had shingles. I would go out to my car and set my phone alarm to take naps in my car at my corporate job, thinking that was normal, because everybody would tell me, well, you know, you had a baby. This is just what happens to your body, or you're getting older. This is just what happens to your body. When I've come to realize that that is not the answer that you have to accept, because when you get to the root cause, rather than masking symptoms, beautiful things start to happen. So I started these products back in 2014. It's been a little over 4.5 years now for me. I've never looked back a day in my life. Since then, it took me 9 months to get my lab results back. So when you're looking for lab results, when you're looking for that type of change, it's really hard to notice, especially when you have your blinders on. I started solely for, you know, to help with my blood work, to help with my lab results. But what I didn't notice over time, and I slowly started noticing, was that soda didn't taste good to me anymore. I was running circles around my daughter. I was no longer needing melatonin. I was no longer needing that caffeine to get me through the day. My blood sugars were balanced. I felt absolutely amazing. I actually have a voicemail saved on my phone from my gastroenterologist who told me my esophagus looks beautiful now. I know it's a complete nerd thing to save, but it was something that was really special and important to me, because I never thought that I would hear those words ever. My lab results now are closer to the normal range than they've ever been before, lower than they were in high school, and I've never felt better. And I really, truly have Plexus to thank for that, and have Jen to thank for that. And I was the person who, I was a secret pink drinker for about 9 months, and I had an aha moment, and I knew that I needed to share my gift with other people. And since then, I have seen hundreds of lives change, hundreds of testimonials, people coming saying thank you. And I do this now for everybody else. Also for my beautiful daughter, I want her to see a mom, kind of what some of you have mentioned, not being a sideline mom, not being exhausted all of the time, and not being someone who's not surviving or who's not thriving on the day, because that's actually where I was. And I have so much thankfulness for these products that have entered into my life. And I have actually been come off 3 stomach prescription medications, soda-free for over 3.5 years, which is a freedom of its own. And the opportunity that this has brought to myself and to my family has been absolutely, the sky is the limit. And I am just so thankful for everything that it's given to my life. So thank you so much for listening to my story. And I'm going to throw it off to Kendall.
Hey everyone. Okay, so cameras freak me out, so bear with me if I have nerves, but my name is Kendall Boyd and I am an Emerald with Plexus. And I'm really honored to be on here tonight sharing with you guys. So a little bit about me. I have actually been a stay-at-home mom for 13 years, going on 14 almost, really soon. And I homeschool my 4 kids. We've been homeschoolers for 9 years. And my journey with Plexus started because I am somebody that has always dealt with stomach issues. It's just always been a part of my life. And I've had food sensitivities and triggers and bathroom issues and all the fun stuff. But a few years ago, it got really, really bad. And I was always hurting. And it went above and beyond what I was used to dealing with. And so I ended up going and seeing a whole lot of doctors trying to figure out, what was going on with me. And they did all of the fun tests. And when you have GI issues, the tests are pretty invasive. But over the course of all of this time, it was about 11 months, I ended up being hospitalized 3 different times, and they still could not figure out, what was going on with me. We didn't have any answers. And so my cousin Heather, she told me about Plexus. She said, I've started taking this stuff and they might be able to help. And I honestly was just so focused on trying to make it through every day that I told her, no, thanks, I'm not interested. And I really thought it was just something that helped with weight loss. And so it wasn't for me in my mind. But I ended up getting to the point where I could barely walk. I spent all day, every day with a heating pad on my back because that was the only thing that brought me relief. And I was on so many medications. I couldn't do anything with my kids, and my husband, he was just handling everything. And it became a really big stress on our family and on our marriage. And when you're dealing with chronic pain, I mean, you can't be a mom, you can't be a wife because you're just hurting too much. And so 11 months into this journey, I ended up having a really severe reaction to a medication that I was put on. It attacked my nervous system and made me start losing my vision for about 2 weeks. So that is when I finally got desperate enough to try something different. I reached out to Heather that week and I told her, I don't care what it costs, just tell me what to take. I'm going to take it. And she, of course, told me about the triplex, just because she's like, we don't know what's going on in your body, so let's just work on everything. And we, because of being homeschoolers and being on one income, we were really bad off financially at this point. And we also just, had so many medical bills, and we were 2 months from foreclosing on our house. And my first order of Plexus got to go on a credit card because we didn't have the money, and I was desperate. I was just so willing to do anything at that point. And so I'm so thankful that I got to that point, because this became the first thing that helped me. And it was not an overnight change. It took consistency, but by the end of the first month, I was becoming a completely different person than who I had been that whole year. And so not only did it help, helped with all my stomach issues, but I have lost weight with this. I don't count down to my kids' nap time anymore. And, I feel so much better. So the day after I ordered, my mom and my sisters, they also struggle with stomach issues. And so that very next day, I shared with them what I was doing, and I told them the little bit that I had read about it, and told them that they should try it with me because there was a 60-day money back guarantee. And I figured if it stinks, we'll all just get our money back. So they did. They started this with me, and 4 days after I had ordered my own product, I had already earned back the cost of what I spent on my products. And then we actually had some left over to buy groceries as well. This just made me want to learn more about all of this and the products and what they were doing for people. So I started reading a whole lot of testimonies, and it really just made me realize that there were a lot of people out there that were struggling like I was. And my first month with Plexus, I ended up reaching out to pretty much everybody I knew. So I sent out, I think, over 400 messages when I went back and counted, or 400 face-to-face conversations with people. And I simply told them what I was taking. I just told them, I'm taking this. This is why I'm taking it. And I asked them if I could send them some info on it. And by the end of that first month, I had 38 people that came alongside me in this. And over the last 5 years, that has just continued to grow. And now, I get to be a part of my friends' health victories. And this also has afforded me the chance, as a homeschool mom, to make a full-time income. And so my husband has been able to go into full-time ministry because of this, while I am now the one that takes care of our family financially, because he did it for so long. And it just blows my mind. I mean, it makes me so honored to be a part of something like this. So that is a little bit of my journey. Thank you guys so much for letting me share on here. And I think Justine is going to go next.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Justine Frogger, and I'm a senior Ruby ambassador, and I've been with Plexus for about 4 years. But I've been on the products for a little over 4 years at this point. And I was that person that did not need or want these products or this business. even a little bit. My husband and I had gone through an infertility journey that did not work. And with lots of synthetic hormones comes lots of weight. And I had gained about 35 pounds on my small 5-foot frame. And my body just stopped working. And none of my meds worked anymore. I took sleep meds and antidepressants for about 11 years. And so I changed my whole life. I changed my food, I changed my exercise, and I lost the weight. I lost 35 pounds. I had kept it off. I no longer needed medication. I did not need supplementation is what I thought. And then one of my best friends, Sam, started to use Plexus, and she's got an incredible testimony, and she started to work this business. And I started to shut her up, to support her. And because I wanted to see if I could have a little bit more freedom with my food. And so I just started with our Triplex, which is our best-selling combo. It's our Plexus Slim, our BioCleanse, and our ProBio 5. And I was a mental health therapist in private practice at the time. And within just less than a month really on Triplex, I started to feel more energy. I wasn't crashing in the afternoon anymore when I still had 4 clients to see. And then I got my husband on it. And I also kind of noticed I just started to feel better, especially in regards to how often I popped ibuprofen. In high school, I had 2 back surgeries, and I spent a year of high school in a body cast, and I used to live on ibuprofen. I would eat 4 ibuprofen every 4 hours on the days that I was traveling with no concern to what it was doing to my stomach or what we now know cardiovascular health, because it's what was needed to manage where I was at with my discomfort. And so even with Triplex, that started to improve. But then once I started to use some of our other products like Nerve and Ease, I realized that I wasn't needing ibuprofen. And I haven't had any ibuprofen in 4 years. Actually, my husband and I are off all prescription medications and all over-the-counter medications. We wake up refreshed. We both lost some weight. We've trimmed up. We're the most active we've ever been. We look the best that we've ever looked. We feel the best that we've ever looked, and we're older. And so really it's changed everything. And I thought I didn't need it. And then Sam came to me and was like, you need to just become an ambassador because Plexus pays us to stay on our products. And she was basically stealing my money because I was taking all the products. And so I fought her on that too. I was like, I am not going to work network marketing. Are you serious? I had just published my first book. I was seeing clients full time. I did not have time for a business. And then I just started to share a little bit and started to feel really effective in helping people feel better. And then when they started to see their paycheck a little bit when they shared, I felt even more effective there. And soon I had a big team and I was working this business. My latest testimony with Plexus is, I think, one that none of us could have ever expected. I, for the last 2 years, have been struggling horribly with hormonal cystic acne out of nowhere. And I have never struggled with my skin. And I had tried everything, at least everything that had decent ingredients, because I care about ingredients. And I did not know Plexus was coming out with Joyome. And from day 10 of using Plexus Joyome and saving money, because I'm married to an accountant, which is the biggest reason I became an ambassador, because Joyome replaces so many products for me, my skin started to clear up. And I literally just posted on my Instagram story, it is the week, it's the week before my period, and I have no active acne on my face. And it's nothing short of a miracle. And so that's one of my biggest, along with ibuprofen, those are the big parts of my Plexus testimony. Other than the fact that at the end of June, I retired from seeing individual clients as a mental health therapist after 19 years in traditional mental health. And I am working ministries, finishing my book, speaking and teaching, doing the work that I love, because Plexus is helping pay the bills to fund the dreams. And so I am truly living and walking in my purpose, serving the world with my gifts, doing what I love, and actually getting paid for it, which is a gift that I will eat crow on for the rest of my life, even though I did not think I needed Plexus, the products, or the business. So that is a little bit of my story, and I'm going to throw it back to Jen.
Thank you all so much for sharing. If you're watching on the live on YouTube, I'm looking up at my girls up here. Just thank you, each of you, for sharing. I so appreciate you. I just want to point out how different all of these stories are. It's not just weight loss, it's such a broad spectrum of what Plexus products can do for people. And that's because Nicole had mentioned it. We get to the root cause. We only have a business opportunity because of these amazing products. We wouldn't have the amazing business opportunity that we have if we didn't have the products. But I want you to know that if you are just needing relief from your health issues, there is a place for you in Plexus. If you are needing relief from health issues and you need to make some extra money, there's a place for you in Plexus. If you want to jump all in and get healthy and go to the top and make some really amazing plan A income, there's a place for you in Plexus and anywhere in between. There's really two ways to get involved with Plexus, and one is a customer and one is as an ambassador. And an ambassador is you get wholesale prices, you pay $34.95 and you get a chance to buy a welcome pack, which has discounted products off of wholesale. You get that shot, that one-time shot to buy that welcome pack. And you can make this what you want to make of it. But I am certain that these products can change your life if you commit to them and are consistent. You can also become a customer. We love our customers as well, and preferred customers, the way to go. You can save some money off of retail and not have to remember to order with your preferred customer order. So I encourage you, please get back with the person who invited you here. You listening to this video tonight is not an accident. I believe you are here for a reason. And please, 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 if one of these stories did not resonate with you personally, I want you to think beyond that. I want you to think, I know people that need to hear these stories, and don't hold that to yourself. Get your friend who needs to hear these stories, get this video in their hands, or connect them to the person who invited you. Even if this isn't for you, this could be something that could change your loved ones' lives and their health journeys and their lives forever. So I thank you for being on tonight. Thank you again, ladies, for sharing. I love each of you, and y'all have a very blessed night. See y'all later.